r/AskReddit. What historical event can accurately be referred to as a bruh moment? When Khosrow I of the Sassanid Empire literally built an exact, better version of Antioch just to show off to the Byzantines. Napoleon I coming back to conquer Europe after he already got defeated. Then he immediately got defeated again. The attempted Bay of Pigs invasion. When the US air support was an hour late because they forgot time zones were a thing. And without them, the rebels got battered by Cuban government forces. That one time that one army split up to flank the enemy army and ended up attacking itself. 300 Australians trapped in a coastal African city held off thousands of Italians for months during World War II. The sinking of the Titanic. The Great Depression. Assassination attempt on Andrew Jackson where assassin tried to shoot Jackson from close quarters. But the powder didn't light. So he grabbed a second gun. And it didn't fire, so Jackson took his cane and started beating the man. The term getting the ball rolling came from William Henry Harrison's campaign. After which, he won. Mainly because he was the only candidate who didn't say anything about slavery, and he gave the longest inaugural speech in US history without a coat. In DC. In the rain. Ended up catching some disease and died like a month into his term. Leaving John Tyler as president who did practically nothing to reduce tensions between the North and South. 3. Sumner Brooks Affair. The bubonic plague was a magnitude 10 bruh moment. I saw this story on Reddit and can't find it on Google. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, that would be awesome if you have names links. Anyways, there was a kingdom who recently got a new king who was about 17 years old, still a teenager. There was another empire they were fighting on another side of this massive rock. There were two ways to get around the rock. Through. There was a ravine, but you would get easily ambushed and slaughtered, or around the rock. The king's military advisor advised him to go around the rock because the enemy surely would be ready with arrows to ambush their army. The naive king ignored him and decided to go through the ravine. It turns out that the enemy thought that the king would go around the rock, so they also went that way too, and they both completely missed each other. Edit. I am pretty sure that it was Thutmose III who was an Egyptian pharaoh in the Battle of Megiddo. Theads1out also explains it in his YOLO swag video. Also change tactical advisor to the proper word, which is military advisor, but I think most people want to know who did it and what battle it was in. When 100 Russian soldiers who barely survived poison gas attack, and were close to dying anyway, charged against 7,000 German soldiers in World War I. The Russians were so abnormal mutilated by the gas that the Germans thought they were attacked by zombies. Spoiler alert. The Russians won. The War of the Bucket. There was a long-standing tension between rival cities, and eventually some thought it would be brilliant to steal a single oak bucket from the center of the city. When the city threatened war unless the bucket was returned, they laughed it off. This caused a war where hundreds died. The victors still have the bucket on display in their city. That pirate who had a bounty on him. So he put a bounty on the guy who put it on him, making it a real no you moment. What happened in Tiananmen Square? Chinese government. Nothing. Bruh. When Watch His Face returned to Roanoke and found absolutely nothing but a word carved into a tree. When Teddy Roosevelt was shot before he was supposed to give a speech, the bullet was slowed down by the folded up 50-page speech. So it did not kill him. The bullet was inside him and he was bleeding. But he still went on and had the speech, which was 84 minutes long. He started it off with "It takes more than that to kill a bull moose," and showed the crowd the speech with the hole in it. That's a pretty bruh moment and humiliating to your would-be assassin. When the art teacher declined Hitler for the second time. When the Mongols tried to invade Japan but died in a tornado. After they tried to invade Japan but died in a tornado. The execution of Topsy the elephant. In 1903, Topsy the elephant was fed cyanide, and then electrocuted and simultaneously hung. The whole spectacle was filmed for Edison's campaign against AC. When the Chicxulub impact happened. Club Penguin going down. This war is the last war of mankind, it will end the other wars. And then World War II happened. When 3 dudes claimed to be Pope and all got excommunicated. The Australian Emu War. The complete and total overkill of Grigory Rasputin. Archduke Franz Ferdinand survived an assassination attempt, but later that day, his driver took a wrong turn on their way to the hospital to visit wounded citizens from the attack. They drove past another assassin having a snack at an outdoor cafe. Needless to say, he did a better job than the first guy. RIP Europe. Edit. Bruh. Some of the details are incorrect, that is they made it to the hospital and then we're returning home. Princip wasn't eating a samick. Etc. The gist remains the same. Also, I am well aware World War I would have occurred anyways, but this assassination was the spark that lit the tinderbox. The way Alexander the Great died. He basically partied too hard and dropped. Thermopylae. According to the Persians. World War I. Literally fought over petty shit and accomplished nothing. Oh. And pissed Germany off enough to start another war 21 years later. Alexander the Great. One of the single most powerful generals of the ancient era who conquered damn near the entire Middle East. Being taken out by some random disease. America during the War of 1812 invading Canada and ending up getting the White House burnt down. The Emoji Movie. Both nukes the US dropped on Japan, but especially Nagasaki. President Garfield's death. He was shot in an assassination attempt. The bullet didn't hit anything important and he would have lived if not for the infection he got from all the dirty fingers trying to dig the bullet out. I guess soap didn't exist back then. Germany invading Russia or Japan bombing Pearl Harbor. When Bill Clinton got caught lying about shagging his intern. It depends on what the meaning of is. Hitler. Completely closing the art university that kicked him out in World War II just because he could. Edit. I am sorry. I read this in a book. I am trying to find it. It is also a common legend that Hitler destroyed the university here in Germany. I don't mean that the building got destroyed. I mean it like this. Hitler closed the academy while the Second World War was ongoing. Hitler published texts that gave the University of Vienna a bad reputation, so that no one would want to study there. I am trying to find some internet sources or the book I read. And if I manage to find, I will edit this again. If not, please feel free to consider this post as BS. The US losing the Vietnam War. Bruh, fortunate son intensifies. 2012, the end of the world. Didn't happen. I'm still alive. Bruh. The Maginot Line. Impenetrable to nearly all armies. The Third Reich. Literally just goes around it. Bruh. The Boston Tea Party was a huge bruh moment. Especially when they started to sweep the decks of the boats after yeeting the tea overboard. Certified bruh moment. Does the rape of Nanking count? Thomas Fitzpatrick drunkenly stealing a plane on a bet. The German-Soviet non-aggression pact being broken. Pompeii when Vesuvius became active. They had just fixed the earthquake damage on the buildings and were ready to get the plastering teams in. Worst day in the building industry ever. The rest of the world. Okay Hitler, we see you've been remilitarizing Germany and taking back confiscated parts of Germany you lost in the Treaty of Versailles. We will look past this as long as you promise not to invade Poland. Hitler. KK. Also Hitler. Invades Poland. Rest of the world. Bruh. Brutus stabbing Caesar. If you want to get nothing in return, you can like and join my Discord. There is a link in the description.